the spring watch list is really it's what I'm going to be looking at instantly on the first day of practice. It's what kind of are my last few worries with this team, the last few things that I have to see to really start gaining confidence, to really start jumping on that bandwagon of, yeah, it's a college football playoff type season. Because right now it's tough to subscribe to that theory. I mean, after getting left in the dust last season, it seems like, being overzealous is not the best way to go about it. But you could also look at it as you're an optimist. You're being positive. I don't know. If these things happen, if I can answer these questions through spring, I'm going to feel that much better. The first question, we'll keep it DB room related. Safety depth. Is anybody else changing positions? Is the guy on the right side of the screen, Javen Toviano, how much is he used? How comfortable is he in his new role? What do you have at safety that you're able to throw out there on Saturdays? How much depth do you have? And like I said with the Mansour Delane comment, is he going to even play in the cornerback room? I'd imagine at first, yeah. And I'd even imagine that we see a situation similar to what you saw with Sage Ryan, where they throw him out there and give you the old cross training explanation. Um, I think Mansour has a huge ceiling. And like I was talking about, the versatility that he possesses makes him one of the most valuable DBs on the squad. If you can play both sides, safety, corner, if you can be trusted, you can be reliable. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. I'm interested to see, though, any more position changes. What does Toviano do? He was one of the position changes. Let's move into the second question. The man on the left, DJ Pickett. What's his role? How involved is he? What spot are they going to put him in a sub package? What's that looking like? Does he get the cornerback 2, 3? Like what? Where is he going to be at in the mix? I think him being an early enrollee is going to help speed up the process of him getting an opportunity. Normally, people, especially freshman cornerbacks, you got to wait. But when you're the number one cornerback, when you got that length, that ceiling, that upside, I don't know if you're waiting for much longer. You might go the old way of the number 24 at LSU there in 2019, Derek Stingley, and that man is catching multiple picks in the NFL playoffs. So not a crazy comparison, not a bad comparison to be sitting in, but I'm definitely going to be staring at DJ Pickett during the spring ball, and I want to see, is he engaged? Is he in a spot where I think he's going to see the field, and I think he's going to have a big, season? That's my big question. That along with the safety depth paired with this one, the man in the middle, number 28, Caleb Jackson, one of the biggest promising athletes still on LSU's team. I'm gonna go to bat for him because a lot of people are saying he didn't have a great season. He didn't. He did not. Sometimes football's tough. That's all I got to say. You're playing college football. You're a running back. At that, you're a running back in a room with guys like Josh Williams, Caden Durham. I mean, there's pieces. Hell, Jawan Johnson. They had a defensive back so good at the damn position, scored so many touchdowns in Louisiana high school football history. They moved him to your position. Albeit, I mean, yeah, Caleb Jackson had some things he had to readjust in terms of more conditioning and taking it more seriously. But I mean, I don't get how you don't take it more seriously after a year like that. I think that's a year where you get woken up, where the process that you have gets changed. And I want to see if Caleb Jackson is engaged. Who's the next backup? Is he RB2? Is he the guy that we're going to see toting the rock behind a Caden Durham? Because I don't think 29's losing that job. He's the lead horse. He proved why he deserves that opportunity, and I just don't see them slowing it down. So if he's comfortable with that role and he's comfortable with that, then I could see him staying. That's one of my biggest interest points, right? If that second portal window opens, what do they do? Are they able to keep him? Do they want to keep him? It's all going to be contingent on how Harlan Berry, JT Lindsey, all these pieces kind of develop. It's also, I mean, how about John Emery? Is he coming back with a medical red shirt? I'd imagine that would be one of his plans. I mean, you haven't heard anything of it yet. A lot of pieces are going to float around this running back room. And I think Caleb Jackson might be one of the biggest question marks. I think it's worth the risk. He's already on the team. He's already in the scheme. I mean, yeah, sure, he might have been frustrated at the ending result of the season. But hey, sometimes things don't go your way. Sometimes the plan, the perfect little idea, the perfect little visualization that you have of a moment doesn't happen. And then now you're left to learn from that, develop your process, grow, and now you're stronger for the next season. Now, when this happens, you're not going to be, down in the dumps, and you're going to be able to turn around and figure it out. I think Caleb Jackson's post for a big year. It's all about what he does up here. It's all about how he focuses. All about how he gets his process, recalibrated. That's what I think. Linebacker room, and we got a comment here in the chat about it with Bo Knows. I'm gonna pop this up. Bo's talking about he wants to see who they roll with at Mike, and he thinks they roll with Keys at Mike, Witt at Will, Perk at Sam, with West backing up Keys are rotating in. I'm glad you brought that up because I got an interesting note. That's my next note, the linebacker room. Who's in for Harold Perkins? Is it still going to be Devon Keys? And then your main three, who's that going to be? Bo knows also saying, don't want to see Kelly roll with so-called senior because he stayed like he's done with the past few years. So with the West Week situation, I think if he does get started, now I see where a lot of people are coming from with he's probably just getting it for the experience because, there is a seniority aspect to college football and managing it. I think the only thing with Keys, and I love Keys, when he called that pick six, I'm literally running up, catching the damn video. I'm excited. People throwing popcorn everywhere like that. That was a big moment where I thought Devon Keys announced he's arrived. There's been a lot of games for him this season where he's looked very good, Mr. 42. And I'd expect him to get ample opportunity, not only this camp, whether it be spring, fall, what have you. I think his role is going to progressively grow as the season goes. I think they're going to want to keep putting him in situations, testing him, seeing how he responds, and not just throw him to the wolves all at once. I'm not advocating for it, against it, with it, whatever. I just think that's the reality of the situation. We've seen it played out like that with several other people. I mean, whether it be Whit Weeks, Womack, to your point, I mean, there's been a lot of people that haven't gotten their big break as fans would initially expect. Now, if Devon Keys is going to fall down that role, I don't know. I think the only way Devon Keys can really implement himself into that starting role is if there's no more transfers in that room. If they 100% rock with the linebackers they have now, I could see that. A Whit Weeks, Devon, Harold Perkins, 3 linebacker core. I could see it. I feel like they could be a very interesting spot too, because you got Blake Baker, defensive coordinator, linebacker coach, for what it's worth. Matt House was also that as well, so it might not always mean instant, success, instant translation, but I think, if Harold Perkins gets comfortable in that star position, or even if he just gets comfortable in general with whatever they put him out there in, then by default, Whit Weeks is already going to be out there on the other side. Now you just really got one question mark. Now you just got one spot where you're going to have to develop, fill, potentially answer, potentially replace. And if it is a West Weeks, at least it's somebody that's been in the system long enough where he's not going to be horrible. Was he fantastic at a bowl game? No. But the difference between now, the bowl game period, and later when the season starts, a lot of football, a lot of practice, a lot of opportunity for growth. Never know what happens. Obviously, we'll keep you updated on the linebacker core. I'm sure we won't see Whit Weeks as well, now that I think about it. The injury, getting banged up, probably not going to see him. And you're probably going to get to see a lot of linebacker depth now that I think about it. You're probably going to definitely see guys like Devon get out there. It'll be interesting. I think another room we should really highlight and talk about, the wide receiver room. Who are you going to see be the locks, be the guys, be the main core in spring? And then naturally it'll change, it'll shake up, it'll move around. But I think your locks that you're really, really comfortable with right now, obviously your Chris Hilton, your Aaron Anderson. I would say Zay Thomas as well. I would say Zay Thomas is more than just, your utility or your Swiss knife. I think he's an option that you could really put out there in space. It'll be interesting though. The question marks: Nick Anderson, Barian Brown, Destin Hill. Obviously, they're transfer portal targets. Obviously, they're big pieces with a lot of expected output. And I think Nick Anderson might be one of your biggest, results, I guess, of the transfer portal, one of your biggest cash-ins. And then Barian Brown is going to be who I think takes over that Xavier Thomas-esque role that we saw this season. And like G Sports was saying, with Destin, definitely has a huge upside. Just going to have to see how he progresses throughout the spring, if he plays much during the spring, what that situation is going to look like. But he has a very, very high ceiling as well. We got AK in the chat asking about the date on the spring game. Let me look it up for you, man. I'm not sure if they exactly released a date yet, but we will keep you updated on it. No date yet. It's coming soon, though. Spring ball starting in about a month and a half. I believe it would be around the April-ish time, early April, first week, second week. Let's get to this comment section. H-Town Creole, good morning, dude. Appreciate you in the chat. How has Pickett looked technical in practice? Biggest worry, thinner than Stingley, open field. He was really good, Stingley. Yeah, I agree. I think, the weight's the least of my worries, because if you got the length, hell, if you're here, I feel like you got the drive, the mindset, everything is done but weight. If you're in South Louisiana, bro, you could eat some food. You could gain some weight. Trust me. You could sit down in front of a pot of gumbo, jambalaya, whatever the hell you want to put in front of your plate, and you could add them LBs, baby. I've seen meal plans and workout plans for some players here at LSU where they know exactly what they're going to weigh by a certain point, by a certain date. Oh, you want to gain 25 pounds? Bet by this date, if you eat this meal plan, do these workouts, boom, there you go. I mean, they're playing my career over there. It's like a 2K creative player. I think that is the least important aspect is the weight. And only because I think he's going to be able to fix it. Now you got to fix it in a way where it doesn't damage you and you're still conditioned and you're still able to move around with that weight. But with how tall he is, I stood next to him at the bowl game and at a couple of the events. I'm not worried about the weight. I'm excited about the height. I'm excited about the length. We got Sean in the chat asking about the DB room by ranking, in your opinion. I would have to say corner one. Now, we're going to play this really safe because I don't think Mansour is automatically going to move to safety. So I'm going to put him at corner one. I'm going to put Jakeem at corner two. Strong safety, I'll throw to Marcus Cooley. And at free safety, now is where you get interesting. Is it Jordan? Is it Deshaun? Who is it? Who's at that free safety spot? If those are your two corners, now you can put Azure Stamps at it. I think that free safety one is going to be your biggest question mark. I feel like Tamarcus would play best at strong. I feel like Mansour will be a lock at corner if he wants. Jakeem Jackson, like I said in that transfer segment, is probably a day one starter. Now DJ Pickett, I mean, he's gonna be in a very similar situation to Devon Keys, where they're gonna slowly test him, slowly give him more and more and more. Now Sean's asking, where does PJ Woodland rank? That's a good question because I think PJ Woodland had one of the biggest upsides, right? We talked with a lot of DBs. We even had Sage Ryan on the show give him his flowers, saying as soon as I think it was April, we did the interview with Sage last April after the spring camp. He was saying that PJ's playing like a veteran. He's showing up early. He's doing all the little things. He's jumping in line again to get another rep. I think PJ Woodland has an opportunity to stay around that cornerback 4 spot. Here's the problem. They just added 2 very good corners to this class in Mansour and Jakeem. They just added 2 pieces that I think can come in and be your starting duo. Definitely going to compete for it. So now PJ Woodland as a default has a couple of names here at above him on that depth chart. We got H-Town in the chat saying Pickett did play safety, so you would be willing to tackle at that position. Yeah. And then the thing that scares me, though, is that it's high school safety. It's not SEC safety. And SEC safety can get rough. It can get grimy. I've seen it. The bowl game looked interesting. And I'm not saying no one's capable of doing it. We're going to find the guys capable of doing it. I'm always interested to see how they're going to get that position, rounded off, because I think that's one of your biggest voids in the whole team.